Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this second virtual training that Sandy Springs is providing to the business community locally. We're so happy that you joined us this morning and want to make a couple of quick notes. First of all, as you just heard, this session is being recorded. So in the event that you have to pop off, or if you have a business colleague that you think would benefit from this session, we're recording it so that Caroline and her team can share this asset and this resource with the business community into the future. Also, you will note that the chat box within your control panel is activated, as well as the Q&A portal. At any point throughout this training, please feel free to enter comments in the chat that you'd like for everyone to see, or if you have a specific question that you just want me to see, you can drop that in the Q&A portal. Feel free to do that throughout this training at any point. You definitely won't disrupt the conversation, and we encourage you to. We want this to be interactive and fun. And so again, thank you for joining us this morning. Real quick, want to introduce myself and our company. So my name is Jen Gregory, and I'm the president of Downtown Strategies at our company, Retail Strategies. Our company is headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama, so not too far from where you guys are in Sandy Springs. And I am in Mississippi, Starkville, Mississippi, where I manage our Mississippi office and our downtown team. My background is in downtown revitalization and community development, and throughout my career, I've had the privilege and honor to work with small businesses in about 150 communities. I've also been a small business owner myself, and my husband currently operates a small business. So very familiar with some of the unique opportunities that you have as a business owner, but certainly also some of the challenges. So today we're talking all about omni-channel resources, omni-channel strategies, and we're going to define what omni-channel means here in just a little bit. But first, we'll tell you a little bit about our company and then some retail trends. We know that throughout the pandemic, retail has changed and consumers are doing business differently than they ever have before. There are some habits that carried over after the really severe point in the pandemic. And so we're going to detail those and also talk about what that means for you as a business. Then we'll detail our 6 steps to implement an omni-channel retail strategy. So we'll show you some examples and really talk about how you can put this into practice. A couple other things I'll mention. First of all, we know that small businesses are, time crunched all the time. Many of you are a one-woman or a one-man show, and you don't have a lot of time to take on new strategies and new direction with your business. So we hope that you will be inspired with one strategy in this presentation. We really want to set expectations that, it's not practical or realistic for us to expect some of you that may have really never even heard about omni-channel to implement all of these strategies and become proficient at managing your business in an omni-channel world. So what is our expectation? We hope that you will be inspired by one thing that you hear today, that you will identify with one strategy or more and feel like it's something that you can put into practice in your business. Also, following this training, those that registered, as well as Caroline and her team at the city, will receive an email directly to your inbox with this recording, with the deck that we're sharing today, and also with 3 additional resources, workbooks and ebooks that hopefully will help take some of this high-level information and again, put it into practice. And then we'll take time for Q&A, but again, please feel free to ask your questions or make your comments as we go along. So just briefly, a little bit about our company. Those of you that attended our last training, which took place over the holidays and really focused on what businesses can do to prepare for an unprecedented holiday season, you know that our company is a community development firm with offices across the country that really serves municipalities with their community and economic development needs. That can be regarding retail, national retail, also downtown revitalization, and of course, small business support, which we are talking about today. So let's talk just a little bit about some retail trends. What has changed since COVID? What can you expect going forward in the next couple of years? And also, what is kind of the current state of retail? So we're going to start with a quiz. Certainly don't expect you to mark down your answers, but just be thinking in your head of what the answer may be. And our first question here is, what percentage of jobs in America are retail? 25%, 40%, or 50%? Give you a second to make your choice. And the answer is 25%. So 1 in 4 jobs in America are retail related. It makes a huge impact on economies across the country, but primarily local economies. So I want to start here by saying the work that you're doing, not only it's your livelihood and likely your passion, but it's also contributing significantly to Sandy Springs economy. And we think that retail is a pivotal sector in our country for that reason. Our second question is, what percentage of retail is categorized as small business? And we really start with this question also because in the age of Amazon and Walmart and Target, 2-day shipping, small businesses tend to think, I can't compete. So what percentage of retail is categorized as small business? 98%. So even though there are some mega, whales that are swimming around in the sea as it relates to retail, most of the businesses in our country are small, and there is a huge priority to support them. Next, and we're going to come back to this quite a few times, our question is, what is the largest consumer demographic group? And you can see some of the choices on the bottom right. And the answer is millennials. Regardless of what we think of millennials, a lot of times people think, oh, they're lazy, they're on their phones all the time, they're entitled. That demographic has grown up a little bit. These are folks in their 30s, early 40s. They're settling down. They have families, children. They're looking to reside in communities like yours. Your community is an outstanding haven for young families and entrepreneurs. And so this is a group that when we think about how to advertise, how to connect with customers, we certainly don't need to forget about all of the generations. But we need to think about millennials and how they have a huge buying power and they do things a little bit differently. And then of course, Gen Z is right behind them. So our next question is, what percentage of retail sales are online? So online shopping is a huge fear for small businesses. We're going to talk today about how you can get online. But when we think about the grand scheme of things, what percentage of all retail sales are online? I have a feeling a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, it's definitely B, maybe even C. It's actually A. So about 18% of overall retail sales are online. Now, that number was a lot lower before the pandemic. So that number has incrementally increased over and over again, and it's expected to continue to increase, but it is not surpassing brick and mortar sales. In fact, when we look at what percentage of consumers prefer to shop in store, that number is 78%. So even though 18% of folks are shopping online, or rather the total expenditures value 18% of overall retail sales, 78% of people still want to shop with you in your store, but they have different expectations than they did before the pandemic. And last question in our quiz, hopefully this one is easy. What is the practice of combining a brick and mortar and online presence to create a seamless shopping experience? And that's, of course, omni-channeling. And that is what we are talking about today. So let's detail real quick some retail trends that have come out of specifically after COVID. What tops the chart is customer experience, especially millennials and Gen Z, but a lot of our shoppers and consumers in this country They want an experience when they buy something, when they go out to eat. Yes, this is an age of instant gratification where I can go online and purchase anything I want and it'll arrive at my doorstep likely in 2 days. But that's not fun or fulfilling. That's just checking a box. And so some of our younger generations crave an experience. They want something that is Instagrammable, right? They want to enjoy their senses when they're shopping. They want to see a cool downtown space. They want to see twinkle lights and murals and have outdoor dining where they can visit with their friends rather than just checking a box and consuming something. So really keeping that in mind, and we will talk about experience over and over again today. Next is conscious customers. This really came out of COVID as a desire to support small businesses, right? Our neighbors that owned small businesses, we knew that they were struggling during the early days of COVID. So we really saw a shift in communities, especially non-urban communities, paying more attention to small businesses and identifying ways that they can support local businesses in their community. Wellness, ease of purchase is another, and we'll talk about this today as well. Making it easy. People are expecting convenience these days. They became accustomed to it. But also when we think about post-pandemic, I feel like our lives have just sped up. We had a couple of years where things slowed down a bit, and now everything is back to full force, and we are all so busy. And so retail, restaurant, when we look at growth in sectors, it's definitely within those companies that prioritize convenience, whether that's online ordering, picking up in store, picking up curbside, ordering your coffee online and driving through or walking in to get it. And these are all things that the national retailers have perfected, but local retailers have the opportunity to implement as well. And we'll talk about how. Omni-channel and social media, it has just become the norm. Loyalty and differentiate or die. So people are really looking for unique opportunities to spend their money. We talked a little bit about generations, but when we see millennials, Gen Z, and post-Gen Z, that makes up over half of the population. And these are groups that are on their phones. They're on their phones all the time. And in fact, when we think about omni-channel and social media, the average American spends about 13 hours per day using technology and media. And you can see the breakdown here below. Video at the top of the chart. Now that can be streaming, that can be watching shows, or that can be watching videos like TikTok, videos within Instagram, audio, gaming, messaging and social media, and then other web browsing. So this is super important, especially as we see the rise in video. And if you know that the average American is on their phone 13 hours a day, or at their computer, if your business only exists in the brick and mortar, then you're not in front of your customer during these hours. But there's a way to get in front of them. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We mentioned customer experience, but I think this is something as I travel around across the country, visiting with small businesses, city leaders, and community members, what we hear time and time again from the public in particular is that I want to shop with my local businesses, but they don't make it easy for me. Their hours aren't consistent. I never know if I go to their store, if they're actually going to be open. They rarely have what I want, and they don't have an opportunity for me to order it ahead. If I'm busy, I can't order it online and swing by to pick it up. And these are things, as we mentioned, that people have come to absolutely expect. And loyalty. Again, we talked a little bit about this with the conscious customer, but we have started to see with the rise of social media and even influencers, and I don't mean celebrity influencers, I mean those in your community, those people that you know that have an Instagram following of more than 10,000 people, and they're starting to do little sponsored posts for some businesses in your community maybe. they are creating loyal followings, first to them as, Instagrammers and social media personalities, but also to the brands that they promote. And we're starting to see companies really across the country, small businesses all the way to your national retailers, that instead of putting their marketing dollars in expensive advertising, traditional commercials and advertising, they're starting to partner with online personalities and really build up their brand loyalty. It's a great way to reach customers, and customers, as if you attended our holiday shopping and outlook training a couple months ago, you heard us say that people are going online to find the items that they need and to see how they are modeled, how they're styled, how they work with other items before they're going into the stores. They're looking to the internet for inspiration and for confidence. So just another reason why this is all critical. And then ease of purchase. We mentioned this a little bit a couple slides ago, but certainly making purchasing, checking out simple. If you're a hair salon, for example, you can use some of these point of sale systems like Square to have your customers make their appointments online, put their payment in online, and then it's contactless payment, and not really because we're worried so much about health anymore, but because it's easy. I can check out by scanning a QR code. You text me a link to the bill and I tap on it and I complete it. So this is really the future of payments. And the good thing is that companies like Shopify, Square, Toast, Clover, they are making it simple for small businesses to implement their systems, and these systems can be automated, which is something we'll talk about also. So those are some trends that we're seeing, and really what I hope you see through these trends, and these are brand new, fresh trends for this year, what I hope you'll see is that everything is pointing to the digital space. That's not intentional because that's what we're talking about today. That's the reality. As our company travels all the way across the country to trade shows, meeting with industry experts, and also just talking to ordinary people, this is what we're hearing. And this is an important part of the future. We want you to get on board. So let's dive into omni-channeling. What is omni-channel retail? What does it really mean? To simplify it, it means bricks to clicks. You can kind of see this on the screen. Your brick and mortar store and your digital presence and everything in between. But also, I want you to kind of look at this graphic and put it to memory if you can, because we're going to talk about this graphic time and time again. What is key about this graphic is that not what the different channels are that are identified around. You can see, phone, shopping in person, email, links, computer, phone, paper, newspaper, direct mail, and the brick and mortar store. But the most important thing that I want you to take note of is that the customer is right here in the middle. And every piece of content, every source is pointing to the customer and receiving information back from the customer. And then all of these systems are working together in harmony. And we're going to unpack that, but this is really just a quick way to remember that omni-channeling is all about the customer. It's a customer first approach, and we don't mean just customer service, but we mean meeting your customers' needs and expectations to enhance brand loyalty. This is something that I think is important to remember, and it's some great little stats, and it's a recent Harvard Business Review that studied 46,000 shoppers to gauge what impact, if any, omni-channel retailing had on their experience. And of those that responded, 7% shopped online exclusively. These people do not go in stores. They don't go shopping on Main Street or in any of your shopping centers. They're online. 20% were store-only shoppers. These are people that say, I don't trust the internet. I'm not putting my credit card information online. I'm just going into the store. But 73% used both channels. So if you only have a brick and mortar presence and maybe you have a Facebook page as a promotion, then you're potentially missing out on 80% of the individuals that are online as well. And so really important to think about a way to put your brand in front of all people, even people in communities other than yours. And I have an example of that I'll share in just a second. So here's a very long definition, but if you'll let me, I want to go ahead and read it because there are a couple of key points that really unpack what omni-channel retail is. And it is a cross-channel content strategy that organizations use to improve their user experience. We're going to keep talking about that user and customer experience and drive better relationships with their audience across points of contact. Rather than working in parallel, which your brick and mortar and maybe your Facebook page, those are working in parallel. Communications and their supporting resources are designed and orchestrated to cooperate. Like we mentioned, all of these systems are working together. It's a modern approach to commerce that focuses on designing a cohesive user experience for customers at every touch point. This differs from traditional marketing, where individual channels were optimized without necessarily taking the whole experience into mind, right? So this is where you have your Facebook page, maybe you have an e-newsletter, and you're just pushing information to the customer. The purpose of omni-channel retail is to keep customers moving around within the brand ecosystem, with each channel working in harmony to nurture more sales and engagement. So it's all about serving the consumer, making sure that all of your channels work together, communicate with each other, and ultimately nudge your customer closer to a purchase, and then it starts all over again. Also, before anyone kind of zones out or thinks, wow, there's no way I can have all of these channels, I want to remind you, like I said early in the training, you don't have to have all of these. Maybe you have, in addition to your brick and mortar, 2 other channels that you're focused on. Maybe it's 1. But instead of having those systems work in parallel, today we're going to talk about how you can really integrate them together. So just briefly, I want to do a quick case study. This is a business that I ran across when I was in New York working with a client. It's a bottle shop called Happy Cork. They're located in Brooklyn. It's a woman and minority-owned small business. So this is not a chain. This is not a private equity supported business. This is an individual woman that said, I have an idea and I think I can do this better. During the pandemic, she started implementing omni-channel strategies during the early stages of COVID-19, especially in New York, where everything was very, very difficult. She utilizes an integrated platform to manage her omni-channel presence, and we're going to talk about that later. Managing your omni-channel presence does not mean that you have to be on every platform every day, manually posting and operating those channels. The goal is to integrate everything and automate everything through specific platforms. She has seen her sales increase 4-fold since getting online. Some of the strategies that she uses: her brick and mortar, of course, events, website, an app, which is not custom, an e-newsletter, and social media. So here is a screenshot of her website. And I point this out because when we start to talk about omni-channel, one of the first things to keep in mind is that every platform that you have needs to point to another platform. So here on her website, you can see that first she has her phone number and her email. So if people want to just call in, they know where she is, and that's great. But then there's a button right here, download our app. So when they get to the website, they can immediately transfer over to mobile onto her app. There is a Shop Now tab. So we're automatically now going to e-commerce. There's an Our Story tab, which goes to her YouTube page where she shares some videos from some of her events that she holds. And then again, a Shop Now button here. So social media up here at the top. So this is really a landing page and everything is integrated. You can also see that the logo on the website matches the sign on the front of the store. Very important, and we're going to talk about branding here as well. Now we get to the app. So this is her app. These are some screenshots of the different pages of the app. And again, you see that brand is consistent. I know this is the store that I'm interested in. Here you can see that this app is powered by City Hive. And City Hive is basically a Shopify, but for companies that sell beverages, whether that's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. And so that's just a niche provider in that specific industry. Shopify also has the ability to create an app, and several other platforms do as well. So these are templated, where the shop owner uploads pictures and items and prices and starts to manage the inventory. On the app, you can put items in a cart and you can select local pickup. And you can go by and determine what you want and go pick it up. You also see that right here, new customers take $10 off your first order of $50. Well, how do we know if this is a new customer? Well, because when I tap that, it's going to ask me to put my email address in. That's another channel, another way that I'm getting moved around the ecosystem. Here's a picture of some of the events. So this is a bottle shop. And so the store owner invites some of the owners of some of the kind of up and coming, more entrepreneurial brands. She'll invite them to come kind of meet the maker, if you will, have some, charcuterie, tasting, whatever it may be. But this is a way to get people in the store, kind of off of that phone and in the store to find out what you have and to get more familiar. Here is her Linktree page, and many of you have probably heard of Linktree. It's a subscription. Sometimes it's free, depending on kind of your use of it. But this is a template, and you can see a picture up at the top where her brand is, Photo of her store, which is recognizable. And then we have all of the different channels right here. There's a wine club, which is a loyalty club. There's an article where she was featured in Forbes. Text us, order today. So you can see everything is integrated. And here's her Facebook page as well. On her Facebook page, there's a button that says View Shop. This takes you directly to her online shop. If you have a mobile phone, if you're visiting her Facebook page on your mobile phone, it'll prompt you to download the app. So this is just a great example of a truly small business that started to implement these strategies and saw just terrific returns. Also on her Facebook page, she will share and post photo albums of the events. She'll create event listings on Facebook, as you can do, and invite her customers to mark if they're attending, which shares her brand with their followings. So every step, she's pushing people closer to a point of purchase, but she's really instilling that brand loyalty and certainly that omni-channel presence. Her YouTube page has a quick video that is, kind of homegrown, not anything super expensive or professional, where it starts off with, you can see her storefront and then feature some clips from her events. So just a really great way to push people around. As you can see, when you sign up for emails, you get 10% off your first order, link to start shopping. You're now on the e-list, but you're getting a reward. So just a really, really great example. And I wanted you guys to see that this is not something that just mega stores are doing. This is something that, individual entrepreneurs are figuring out on their own, and you guys can too. Companies with omni-channel retail strategies retain an average of 89% of their customers from channel to channel. And I think we can all think about our own experiences. I travel a lot throughout the country. Today, I'm actually in Greenville, South Carolina, and happened to pop in a coffee shop this morning, Methodical Coffee, that I absolutely love. I think they happen to sell that in your market now as well. Great store. And I scanned a QR code and joined their email list. I bought a bag of whole bean coffee. Now I'm in their queue. I'm probably going to see their Instagram page pop up, right? I'm going to start seeing more and more about Methodical Coffee. Because I'm in their queue, I'm going to be pushed around that ecosystem. If I love the whole bean coffee that I purchased this morning, I'll probably order it again and have them ship it to me. So now I'm a loyal customer just because I popped in this cute coffee shop during my travels. And this is really the benefit of having that digital presence, is reaching a girl in Mississippi and creating a loyal customer out of that just because they happen to interact with your brand ecosystem. So that's a lot of information that I've shared so far. We're about halfway through the training, so want to give everybody just a second to post any questions that you have, any comments, anything you want to share. And if not, we will jump right into the steps to implementing this strategy. For those of you that just hopped on, thank you for joining us. This session is being recorded, so you will receive this slide deck as well as the recording in your inbox, in addition to some resources for putting this training into practice. So you'll be able to catch up in the next couple of days when you receive that email. Okay, so let's jump in and talk about the 6 steps to implementing an omni-channel strategy. We're going to go through each one of these steps. And really, it's important, I think, to start from the beginning. Of course, if you're already somewhat in your journey of omni-channeling, you may think that you want to just jump in the middle, and that's certainly fine. But this really breaks down how to get started. So number 1 is creating customer personas, capturing the data, tracking conversions, and targeting messaging for multi-channel. You may think, what in the world does that mean? That sounds complicated. Well, as you can see on the first point, you can grow your business by strategically integrating multiple channels, but the key is identifying the right audience. So if I asked you today, who is your customer? Would you be able to answer that? A lot of us that have had businesses over the years, including, Downtown Strategies, my business, I think when someone asks me, who is your typical customer? Who generally hires, Downtown Strategies or retail strategies? And I'll say, oh, well, it's usually this, this, and this. But then when I go back to the data and actually look at who is the buyer, what size community, what types of businesses am I working with, a lot of times I'm surprised. It's very important that we use data to understand who our customers are and to create individual customer personas. So what we mean by this is that when I went into Methodical Coffee this morning, as I mentioned, the cashier would ask me, are you on our email list, or are you part of our loyalty club? And I said, no, I've never been here before. Would you like to join? No, I live in Mississippi. I don't, there's no point in me joining. Well, you can get a 15% discount if you buy a bag of whole bean coffee on our website. Okay, well, sure, I'll give you my email address. Or one of you, if you have a local business, a gift store, for example, and you start asking individuals for their name and their email addresses at checkout. A big strategy here is giving something in return. Like I mentioned, the cashier this morning told me that I would get a discount at my next visit, even online, since I live out of town. That was enticing. Sometimes you're going to have people say, no, I'm not interested, and that's fine. Many people are accustomed to this now. So they'll either provide you with their email address, or they might have an integrated point of sale system like Square or Shopify, where they can flip over an iPad and I, as the customer, can type in my information right there. Very, very simple. The reason that this is important is because from that moment, every purchase that I make is tracked to that email address. Also, when I got back to my hotel room today, I had an email from Methodical Coffee that said, please complete your profile for an additional discount or, some type of giveaway. And so I said, okay, sure, that's easy. So completing my profile simply meant entering my zip code, putting in my birthday for a special birthday, gift, discount, whatever it may be, and also, letting them know my name and any other information that I felt comfortable offering. There was not somebody sitting at Methodical Coffee this morning manually typing out that email, right? The system, the point of sale system, did that for them. That store owner had used her Shopify or Square platform and taken some time to go in and create some templated emails, a new customer email. So every time I enter my email address or a customer does, within an hour, 6 hours, however often you want, or whatever time frame you want, that email is automatically sent asking for them to complete their profile. This is an example of automation. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But now that shop owner can look on a screen and see geographically where their customers are. Again, when people ask me, where are your clients? I say, oh, well, this here, there, that region. But when I look at the data, wow, I can't believe we have that many clients in California, in Georgia. So using the data makes our practices and strategies so much more accurate. And the first way to do that is to create these customer personas. It'll give you the data you need, and it'll also help you understand a little bit more about who your customer is, and you can retarget them in the future. If you don't have a point of sale system like Shopify, Square, Clover, it is going to be difficult to create these customer personas, but it's not impossible. You will have to do it a little bit more manually. If you're not using one of these integrated point of sale systems, that would be the one takeaway we would offer from this training. If you hear nothing else or implement nothing else, that would be the absolutely first step. And hey, we're not paid to say that. We don't have an official affiliation with Shopify or any of these companies. But these modernized point of sale systems are what makes having an omni-channel presence possible, and it's what makes them automated. It will save you so much time, and most of the time these systems are very, very reasonable. So number one, creating those customer personas, taking a day, playing in your point of sale system, getting those automated emails set up so that you are starting to track your customers. Number two is the customer experience. I think we've said that, this combination of words probably 10 times already today. User experience and customer experience are priority number one. Omni-channeling is not just having things work technically across channels, it's about providing an incredible experience across channels. Just because customers are functionally able to do what they need to do doesn't mean that you're providing an awesome experience for them. You want to be emotionally connecting with customers at every opportunity and sharing your brand. Who are you as a company? Why do you exist? What is your vibe? What is your aesthetic? And every touch point needs to really build on that and share that. This is how you build brand loyalty. So how do you enhance the customer experience? What makes a customer experience possible? Well, one thing is to make every touch point shoppable. It amazes me the number of times that I see stores posting items on Facebook or Instagram, and there's no link. Oftentimes I think, oh, that's a great item. Let me see how much it is. And I'll search the page, the Instagram story or the Instagram post or the Facebook post for a link, and I can't find one. And so then I have to, okay, let me Google this website, Google this business, find the website, search through and see if that item is listed. And then it's not, it hasn't been loaded to their e-commerce page yet. And so I think, well, that wasn't helpful. I guess I'm just gonna have to go into the store. Well, again, experience and convenience. Every touch point needs to be shoppable. That doesn't mean you need to shove it in the face of your customer. That doesn't mean that you have to be asking for them to purchase every item. But if you are posting an item on your social media, you need to have a link nearby. Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook, all of these platforms now allow you to make every item that you post shoppable with a link. Take advantage of that. Make it easier for your customers to purchase items from you. Second of all, make content for buyers at all stages of the journey. Customers need this. One size does not fit all. You're always wanting to get people closer to the point of purchase. And a lot of times that means using social media and content to help them out. We talked a little bit about in our holiday training last year, like I mentioned, that people are going online for inspiration. Yes, every post needs to be shoppable, but every post doesn't need to say, buy me, buy me. What we're talking about here with content that helps the customer is think about, for example, Mother's Day. Maybe you Mother's Day is coming up, not now, but for example, Mother's Day is coming up, and you want to create some content that will ultimately promote your store as a place to buy Mother's Day gifts. Rather than just posting everything that you have, what about a blog post where you share some great stories of moms that happen to work in your store, connecting with customers in that way? Or maybe there's a great Mother's Day strawberry shortcake recipe that one of the local restaurants is offering, and they're willing to share their recipe with you. Maybe it's a gift guide and you're rounding up some great Mother's Day gifts for new moms, for grandmothers, for stepmoms, whatever it may be. These are all examples of enhancing the customer experience. Not only am I seeing your brand post something that I will eventually remember when I need to purchase a Mother's Day gift, but you're giving me some inspiration and content that is making me happy. It's getting my wheels turning and it's giving me ideas. We are going to provide to you a social media content calendar template to help you chart out your messaging and really think about how can I provide content besides just images of my products that will really enhance the experience. Number 3 is automation. Automate to save your sanity. One thing that we hear at almost every training that we do with small businesses is the notion that I don't have time to do this. This sounds complicated. I don't have time to send an email to every person that comes in my store. I barely have a moment to ask them for their email address. Keeping up with social media, your website, and other channels that you're a part of can quickly get overwhelming. You probably are already overwhelmed. So automation will help you help things run smoothly without sucking all of your time. And so how do you automate? Well, one way is a way that we've mentioned, and that is using an integrated point of sale system that will allow you to create templated emails and communications with your customers. So this means if my email address is with you as a clothing boutique, when I make my purchase, I can say, thank you so much for shopping with us. Your receipt has been emailed to you. Oh, cool. Okay. I don't want to keep, carry around that piece of paper anyways. When I get that email, here's a copy of your receipt. Thanks for shopping with us. By the way, here is our upcoming events. We've got these 3 events coming up over the next quarter. Be sure to join us. Great way to, again, move people through that ecosystem, but that email, that receipt email is maybe updated every quarter. So again, automated. In addition to using an integrated point of sale system, there are websites and platforms that you can use to pre-plan your social media posts and content. So also, one of the resources that you're going to receive from us is a digital marketing guide. And there are some examples of platforms that you can use to schedule your posts. So your Facebook posts, your Instagram stories, whatever it may be, you can schedule them so that maybe once a week you use your content calendar that we're going to provide you, and once a week you go on and load the content that you plan to share. Then if something else exciting happens during your week that you want to share, you can pop in and post that, but you're not having to stop what you're doing every day to post something on social media. This is a great way to think about automation and really treat your communication as a business rather than sort of an afterthought, as a lot of us tend to do. The next step is multiple channels. Different channels means different devices. So brands that succeed in omni-channel don't just think about how to sell on different devices, but they're also thinking about how consumers use different devices and channels to inform a purchasing journey. This means working both off and online. A lot of what we've talked about today is related to, the digital realm, to online. But it's equally as important that your brick and mortar store is clean, exciting, that you have, a candle lit maybe, that you have nice music playing, that it's a very comfortable environment. I want to pause real quick because we got a great question and I appreciate that so much. And the question is there any way to get emails other than having them put their info into the system? A lot of people are in a hurry and it slows them down. So please share some suggestions. Yeah, that's a great point. When people are in your store and they're shopping and you ask them for their email address, they're like, not today, I don't have time. Another way to do this is on your website. If you do have a website or your Facebook page, that button on the Facebook page where when we looked at Happy Cork, it said, I think it said shop now. There is a button that you can select that says join our email list. So using your other channels to collect email addresses is a great way to build that list. Having a pop-up window on your website when someone goes to your site that says, join our email list for a 15% off coupon. Oh yeah, that's easy. Or if they actually do check out on your website, first-time customers, you can get $10 off your $100 purchase, just like we saw Happy Court do. So if people are in a hurry, they're not wanting to join, think about having them join on some of your other channels. Also, text messaging is taking off like crazy. If you decide to pursue text marketing, essentially, then rather than asking for people's email addresses, you can ask for a phone number. And that's a way to collect personas as well at the register. Sometimes email addresses are cumbersome to share. It's JENN, spelling out your email address. But if I can just spit out my phone number, it's easy to collect. And that's another way to create those personas rather than email addresses. Then if you collect those phone numbers, and that's the way that you log people in, if you will, at the counter, if you have a text messaging service, you can send them a text. Hey, thank you for shopping with us today. Here's your receipt. And also, reply back with your email address for an additional discount. And then I can just email, respond on my text message real quickly what my email address is, and it automatically adds it to the system. So I hope those are some suggestions that you can implement, but it's a great point. Receiving those emails at the counter is not the only way. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you for that question. Keep them coming. So when we talk about multiple channels, like we said, on and offline, make sure your store is lovely and inviting, but also think about how you can take your store elsewhere to the customer. But before I get into that, Clarissa has a question. Clarissa, I just unmuted you. What's your question?
Do you have a recommendation for a service provider for the text messaging marketing?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we have a couple of good ones that I will ask Caroline to send out to everyone today. I'll put together a brief little email of some of those tech services that we have encountered that we think are reputable, and Caroline can send that out to you guys. I'll make a note to do that. And that is an excellent question, and we're happy to share that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? We can take a little break here. So appreciate your questions. Any other questions?
Another question.
Yeah.
I think it's the geo, what am I trying to say? There's a new, like when you go into a store, it can tell that you're there. What was it again?
Geofencing.
Yeah. Are there any companies that you would recommend for that also?
Yes, Gretchen, that's a great question. There are, but I will tell you that geofencing sometimes can be rather expensive. It just kind
Okay.
of depends on what you're looking for. But basically, one of the elements of geofencing is that if someone, for those of you on the line that may not be familiar, if you go into a store that it has utilized that geofencing technology, then they are able to basically retarget those individuals with advertising. So we all know how it goes. If we feel like the internet's always listening to us, right? If we go into, Bath and Body Works, for example, we're going to start seeing Bath and Body Works ads popping up on Facebook, on Instagram. And that is why, because that company has geofenced their location. So it is it's a paid subscription for the geofencing and also for, the retargeting. But yes, I will make a note to send you some examples of that. But I did want to mention that that can be pricey. But it's definitely something to look into. So great question, great point, and we'll send some resources on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Really happy to hear them. So appreciate you guys.
I think I have another question. For retail spaces and for small businesses that have I guess a social media, the word is failing me right now, I'm sorry, but for negative reviews online, what's a good way for them to use some of these strategies to help take away those negative reviews?
Yes, that's a great question. And that unfortunately happens. You get just kind of grumpy people, curmudgeons that may have a negative experience. And maybe it's because of, their own choices or whatever it may be. So first of all, two things that we want everybody to do as soon as this training is over. And that is go on to yelp.com. I am not suggesting that you have a paid Yelp subscription. In fact, I really don't necessarily recommend that. But as a business owner, it is likely that if you have a brick and mortar space, it is likely that your business is listed on Yelp, even if you didn't list it. You have the ability as the business owner to claim that business on Yelp. You can say, this is my business. And that will give you the ability to update pictures, hours, and a description. It does not let you, remove those negative reviews, but it first allows you to take charge of that page and make sure that everything listed is accurate, because you would not believe the amount of times that people have that Yelp generates information, posts it, and it's not accurate. Same thing with Google My Business. You need to have a Google account, but basically you can go online and update your Google My Business page. It's free. And that is when I Google, a store, those ones that pop up on the right-hand side with a picture, some reviews, hours, that is a product of Google My Business. Both of these elements, Yelp and Google My Business, you need to have your best pictures posted. You need to have a nice description. Your address and your hours need to be correct, first and foremost. So everyone's homework is to do that today. Then back to your question, Clarissa, about reviews. Yes, one way that we love to see kind of some of those negative reviews change is to do a promotion and basically offer a discount, a reward, hey, bring this in and show us the review that you left. And you can't say positive reviews only, but you can say, hey, through these channels, post it on your social media, send it out in your e-newsletter, find us on Yelp or on Google My Business, leave us a review and bring in a screenshot of it for 15% off. Right. If you remember, a lot of stores, as soon as Facebook started doing the check-in thing, gosh, that seems like a lifetime ago, but you would see yogurt shops and lots of coffee shops saying check in at our store for a discount, and people would just show them their phones. So that's a great way to do it, to ensure that you're starting to get some better reviews. And also just ask proactively some of your customers, hey, we had somebody kind of leave a negative review, help us out and leave a positive review. But definitely offering a discount if they show you a screenshot is a great way to do that. Another question that I got directly is, do you recommend the use of Google display ads? I definitely think that Google's advertising platform is good in the sense that they prioritize their advertisers sometimes. The challenge is their algorithm changes all the time. And what we have found, the absolute best way to make sure that your business pops up first or in the top 3 or so, when someone does a search, is to have keywords on your site. So let me take a minute to kind of talk about this. One of the resources that we're going to send you also, I guess the third resource that you'll receive in your inbox is our guide to optimizing your Facebook page. Again, after your homework is to update your Yelp, claim your Yelp and update your Google My Business page. And your third piece of homework is this: go to your Facebook page and in the About section, right? Not your personal page, your business page. In the About section, I want you to put 5 or 6 paragraphs of information in that section. That is the most highly optimized section for Google searchability on your Facebook page. Add as many keywords as you can. And what do we mean by keywords? These are words that people would Google to find your business. So you need to have lots of content, and don't make it ridiculous, but we are a hair salon on the west side of Sandy Springs. We were opened in this year by this person. Here's what's important to us. Here are the types of services that we offer. What is somebody going to Google if they're looking for a hair salon? A color specialist, braiding, whatever it may be. Google that. And, if someone's going to Google that, make sure that that is in your About Us section. This is a great thing to do if you don't have a website. Treat your Facebook page like your website. Make your About section very robust and fill it up with content. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, Google display ads, to us, the only way that that's worth it is if you're spending a lot of money, like a lot of money. For small businesses, your buck is better spent elsewhere, but use keywords because that's what Google prioritizes. So just make sure that if you do have a website, make sure that you have a blog tab or a news tab where you are writing updates and articles every week, once a month, once a quarter, whatever you can manage. But make sure that that content talks about your business, your products, fun things happening in the town, whatever, because when someone Googles, that's what's going to come up. Your products a lot of times won't come up, but that page will. So I hope that answered your question. We want kind of we really want you to think about, rather than spending marketing dollars on traditional advertising, really invest in your own platforms. Own those platforms, make them robust with information. And then we got another question that says, I heard some of the sites out there that will check on the quality of your website and or mobile optimization. Are there any that you recommend? Yes, there are. A lot of times though, those are paid also, but honestly, that may be a decent expense, is to have someone kind of check your search engine optimization. Caroline, I am, because my screen is up, I haven't been taking great notes about all the questions and especially the things that I have promised. So help me out if you can remember what to send out to everybody. Search engine optimization is certainly one. Sarah is going to help me as well because I want to be sure I get you all these things. But yes, I'll add some search engine optimization kind of checklists and get those out to you guys in a couple of days as well. Clarissa has a question.
Yeah, final question. So you often hear the algorithm is changing. And when I hear that, I don't understand, like, where do we go to know when those changes occur and to find those trends?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. So the best way to do that is just to read the news. So I'll tell you a great website. It's called Mashable. And hang on, I'm just going to post it in the chat because it is kind of a weird spelling. Mashable.com. This is basically a news site that's all about tech and social media. I will tell you, keeping up with the algorithm is really hard, but you can get some of the key changes on Mashable occasionally. They'll do a story about it, but you're never going to truly understand the algorithm. I mean, they don't make that public, but what we can tell is that video. Every site is prioritizing video, and you can kind of start to figure it out as well. If you are a user on social media, on TikTok, Snap, I don't even know how to use Snap. My children have it, which scares me to death. But Instagram, whatever, TikTok, you'll start to see some of the high influencers that have 50, 100,000, million followers. You'll start to see that they change the way they do things. Pay attention to that and start modeling after them. These may be food bloggers that you love. These may be, I don't mean celebrities, but I mean true influencers. And watch what they're doing. Again, video is everything. The algorithm does prioritize where to sort your page. The biggest thing that I can suggest, though, that will always win on the algorithm is engagement. We've talked a lot today about posting, pushing out information, and that is what you can control, certainly. But such a critical piece of making sure that your social media pages are highly optimized is by how much people engage with them. Are your followers commenting? Are they liking your posts? Are they saving your posts or your Instagram stories? That is what ranks you supreme. So when you make your posts, add some questions. What do you ask? What do you want to see from me this year? What kind of sales are you interested in? What's your favorite holiday? What do you feel like you need help with as a consumer? People love to give their opinion, right? So really think about how many of your posts can include a question. And then when someone posts, reply. That's critical. Don't just ask them to post. Thank them, like their response. If they say, oh, St. Patrick's Day is my favorite holiday, respond, me too, can't wait. We have some fun things planned for March. This is how you really encourage engagement and how you increase that brand loyalty. Good questions, guys. And I'm so grateful for your engagement. We've talked a little bit about this multiple channels, but the main thing I want to hit on here is pop-ups. Think about taking your store into other markets. Once you start tracking those customer personas, you may see, hey, I'm in Sandy Springs, but I have a huge population of shoppers in this little Tennessee town. Well, see if there is a retailer in that town, maybe a hair salon in that town that that you can partner with and say, hey, I would love to bring a clothing rack of some of our new cute items to your hair salon and do a pop-up. You are taking your merchandise to your customers in a super fun way. Then they're going to share that with their followers. So think about meeting your customers where you are. It's a fun way to spread the word. We've talked a little bit about this, but our fifth strategy is allocating resources. Can you do this if you're a one-woman or one-man shop? The answer is yes, but I talk to businesses all over the country and I ask them, what is your marketing budget? And they say, I don't have a marketing budget. It's whatever's left over, whatever I can spend. Getting started, I understand that, but eventually you're going to have to allocate resources to developing your omni-channel presence. Can you do this yourself? Yes. So allocating resources right now means time. I know that you don't want to work on a Monday or a Sunday, or we all need time off, but this is a critical component. Dedicate some time, uninterrupted time, to plan out your week, your month, your quarter in terms of content. What are you going to post? How are you going to engage with people? How are you going to partner with other businesses? Can you post one new video a month? Make that your goal, put it in the social media calendar, and do it. As your business grows and your revenue grows, it's a great idea to hire, a part-time person, maybe a college student that is savvy with this, that can really help you do this. It's just so important that you decide that this is a priority, because until it is, it's going to feel, like it's a last resort to your customers as well. So start out allocating time and then eventually move to allocating dollars and staff. And then the last strategy is deliver on your promises. Remember that the buyer's journey doesn't end when the customer places their order or when they check out at your counter. That is when it starts all over again. So first of all, on delivering promises, make sure that experience is good. If you say that you offer 3-day shipping, make sure that you print that shipping label, immediately. And hey, an integrated point of sale system will do that for you. It'll print that label as soon as the order is placed. But make sure you take those items to the UPS store that day, or that your guy's picking them up. Make sure that if somebody thinks they can get something to their mailbox, that you do everything you can to get it there. Make sure that if you say you're going to be open from 9 to 5, be sure that somebody has your store open from 9 to 5, period. That is the biggest way to lose customer loyalty, is to not deliver on promises like your hours. And then lastly, think about how you can start that conversion process all over again. If you ship out an order, put a little postcard in the package with a QR code to sign up for your email list or to sign up for your text messaging services. If they are, if there's a pop-up event and someone comes to your pop-up event, how is a way that you can get them to know about your brick and mortar store, So every interaction points you to the next one. It never stops. Even your best customer, you're always wanting to feed them something new, something different, and something more. And really the next steps are, and I've got some time for questions after this, so I'm happy to stick around. I'm so grateful that you guys came and have, had some wonderful questions. But what's next? Watch for the recording of this training, this slide deck, and the deeper dive resources in your inbox. It usually takes us about 24 hours to pull down the recording from the cloud, since it's a long training. So because it's Thursday, you'll probably get this information first of next week. So look for that in your inbox. Caroline and Sarah at the City of Sandy Springs will receive this as well as soon as it's available, in case it went to your spam box. So that's number one. Number two, if you do not have an integrated point of sale system for your business, check that out. Look at Clover, Square, Toast, Shopify. Pick the one that's best for you. But that is really, really essential. Remember your homework. Go to your Google My Business page, update it, claim your Yelp presence, claim your business on Yelp. Make sure that you update everything and that it's correct. And go to your Facebook page and add tons of content, including keywords, on the About section of your Facebook page. And then finally, identify which channels your customers shop on the most. What is your business? Who do you sell to? I don't know. If you think the majority of your shoppers are, between 15 and 25 years old, you probably need to get on Snap. If you're dealing more with the millennial crowd, you need to be sure that you're on Instagram, and just ask your customers, hey, what do y'all use for social media? They'll tell you. Identify where they are and then create strategies for those channels, one at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Start by integrating what you have, pointing it all together, and then really think about how to grow incrementally after that. So it's been just a true pleasure to be with you guys today. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and for asking these awesome questions. like I said, I'm happy to stick around for another few minutes. So if there are any other questions, please let me know. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to Caroline and Sarah at the City of Sandy Springs for making this investment on behalf of all of you and your businesses. We appreciate our partnership with you, and we look forward to the other 2 trainings that we'll be offering over the next couple of months. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.